Hello guys, this is Prasad Patki from SIMMI Foundation. Today's topic of study is the importance of education from social perspective. In today's session we are going to learn introduction to importance of education from social perspective and four categories of social aims of education. Introduction to importance of education from social perspective. Education is one of the most important subsystems of society. Society expects a lot from the system of education as far as its development and progress is concerned. A society exists primarily by social understanding and commitment. Society is sustained due to the leadership and momentum provided by its political system. Society's progress is directly contingent upon the stability and health of its economy. Society gets its identity from its culture. Therefore, society looks at the system of education for economic, political, and cultural development. From the sociological perspective, there are different functions of education such as education for responsible citizenship, social reconstruction, social mobility, socialization, economic development and productivity, preservation and transmission of culture, acculturation, political transformation, etc. The whole range of the social aims of education can be summed up in the following four categories. 1. Education for socialization. 2. Education for economic development. 3. Education for political transformation. And 4. Education for transmission of the culture. Let us look into them in detail. Education for socialization. Society is formed on the basis of some norms and values like understanding, cooperation, commitment, concern, and respect for each other and for the larger interest of the social group. Every individual is expected to function according to the established norms or rules of behavior of various smaller and larger institutions of the society to which he or she belongs. Socialization refers to the individual's internalization of all those norms, rules of behavior, values, knowledge, and traditions that have evolved and accumulated in a given society. Education is a powerful means for socialization. Individuals now spend more than 10 of their formative years in schools and thereafter a few more years in the institutions of higher education, if they can afford to do so. During this period, the children and youth can be appropriately molded to become useful and productive members of the society. Modern society demands conscientious people who have clear perception of their rights as well as duties towards society. Education for economic development. The development of any society is determined to a large extent by the status of its economy. The economic subsystem of society refers to those organizations and institutions, rules, regulations, and people who are engaged in the production, distribution, and marketing of goods and services. While the economy of a society provides resources to fulfill the educational aspirations of its members, the system of education helps in equipping the economy with the appropriate type and level of human resource for expediting economic development and social progress. Education influences economic development in two ways. 1. By adequately equipping the labor force or human resources with necessary knowledge, skills, attitude, and values according to the demand of the economy. And 2. By generating knowledge, theories, and technologies to enhance productivity and management in all sectors of the economy. Education is the prerequisite for human resource development. The modern industrialized society requires skilled and knowledgeable manpower. Even the traditional productive sectors like agriculture now requires people who are well informed with the latest knowledge about seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, conservation of crops, etc. Today, our country is considerably dependent on other advanced countries for technological know-how and other hardware required in various sectors of the economy. Appropriate and quality education can help us in developing self-sufficiency in this aspect in future. Without advancement in education, training, and research, economic development is impossible. Thus, a highly developed system of education can not only support the economy but also ensures in speedy economic development. Education for political transformation. Philosophers, statesmen, and educationists of the past as well as of contemporary times have already established the relationship between education and polity. In the recent past, our struggle for independence testifies to the role of education in political transformation. Our independence in the year 1947 was achieved by the leadership provided by the educated and enlightened people like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and others. When the electorate is educated and conscientious, and leaders are also learned and progressive, a truly civilized social order gets invariably established. A well-informed and free-thinking electorate is the determinant of success of a democratic society. Uneducated and the ignorant population is always vulnerable to exploitation, manipulation, suppression, and indoctrination by the politicians who have vested interests. Lack of proper education is the major cause of political as well as social degeneration. Education should aim at creation of political consciousness regarding the rights, duties, roles, and commitments of a responsible citizen in a democracy. Education must politically socialize the leaders regarding norms, ethics, values, and accountability in politics and public life. Appropriately planned and wholeheartedly promoted education can successfully bring the much awaited political transformation and subsequently improve the polity. Education for transmission of culture. Something cultivated and ripened as a result of long, varied, vast, and worthwhile experience of the society is known as culture. Culture can be both material and non-material. Material culture includes arts, artifacts, sculptures, architectural achievements, scriptures, books, music, dance forms, etc. Whereas non-material culture includes knowledge, beliefs, attitudes, values, and etiquettes. A society is known by its distinct culture. It is culture that gives identity to a society. Every society is concerned about the preservation and the transmission of its culture to maintain its identity and uniqueness. Therefore, education is traditionally perceived as a tool for preservation and transmission of culture. In the present context, the role of education is perceived in a much broader manner that goes beyond mere maintaining of the status quo to cultural diffusion or acculturation. Cultural diffusion refers to accommodation of the best practices of foreign cultures. Today, in the era of globalization, where the gaps between societies and nations are getting narrower and narrower due to various reasons, openness towards cultural diffusion is inevitable. Therefore, the role of education in the context of culture requires realignment. Now, education must not only aim at preserving the best of the resident culture, but also aim at assimilating new and the best features of any foreign culture in a constructive manner. Today we studied the importance of education from social perspective. That's all for today. Thank you.